all of arguments, and it's at this point a bit too random. There are questions from left and right, like random questions. But yeah, what do you guys wanna like to be addressed? Do you wanna like present?
Go ahead and prove that God doesn't exist.
contingency
Since if you're a strong atheist, then I think it's fair to ask you to prove that God can't exist. I think that's fair. Okay.
Yeah,
well,
they're like
let's go.
presupposing a God that's going to be wholly independent of all else, absolutely the first being that existed before anything else was there. That he has the property of aseity, which means he's self-sufficient. That he's going to have like a personhood, which means like he's going to be like an agent with omni properties, these great making properties. He's going to be like omniscient, all-knowing, and we are going to ask them how they want to cash it out. Omnipotent, all-powerful, maybe like omnibenevolent. Usually they want to say he's supremely just, right? He's all just. We can cash that out in those terms, right? So when you hold to this kind of notion of God, I think it's going to be like internally inconsistent. It's going to create, it's going to lead to incoherencies and potentially contradictions, right?
All right. So let's show me a contradiction in the laws of logic, I guess.
Well, first of all, I don't think like agency is going to be compatible with omni properties, right? And the second, I don't think like, well, we might go into the arguments, but I'm saying like, let me kind of give you the overview, right, the gist, so you can choose like what you want to discuss. Because if you want to discuss why God cannot be an agent with omni properties, we would have to go into understanding what is constitutive of totality and personhood, and you would have to know like a little bit to have knowledge about those things, at least what I'm talking about. And also, I don't think like God can be that God can be omniscient, right? Because if he existed prior to creation, right, there's not going to be a content of his mental state that's going to be external to him, right? So that's going to be like another objection.
Wait, slow down. Explain that. What do you mean by there's not?
Because analytically, a world, mind is a contentful mental state, and a world is that which furnishes a mind of mental content.
Yeah.
Mental content. Define mental content.
Well, do you think God has a mind, first of all?
Not like our minds, but he has.
What does that even mean?
Being. Well, so he's a sentient being.
So in what
entity.
So in what ways is
So he has the capacity
God's mind similar to ours? Yeah, in what sense is God's mind similar to ours?
Just answered sentience.
So
what does that mean?
So the ability to construct thoughts,
So he has beliefs, thoughts.
Sure. I mean, his beliefs are obvious. I mean, obviously he's God. So like.
Wait, he constructs thoughts, or the thoughts are pre-constructed? Because I don't know how you would take construction of thoughts as a concept that, because it's going to be opaque.
So I would say, I guess, yeah, I'd say that they were all of his thoughts, and I guess this is kind of controversial within Islam, but I would say that all of his thoughts are pre-eternally constructed.
Okay. And what if it was the case, like, I don't understand, how did God attain these, right? These are just going to be necessary essence, right? A necessary essence of him?
I don't think it's necessary for me to provide with you a mechanism. I mean, unless you're an aerospace engineer, I think you would be able to affirm that airplanes can fly without telling me the exact mechanism by which airplanes fly, right? But you can ascertain that airplanes fly without knowing how airplanes fly, correct?
I can know that they fly without understanding the mechanism behind it, is what you're asking.
Right. Correct.
Yeah, I don't see how that's relevant.
But you're asking me the mechanism by which God constructs his thoughts, and I'm saying I don't know the mechanism. I know that he has thoughts.
No, I'm asking, are they mechanistic?
Are they mechanistic?
Mm-hmm.
Why are they mechanistic?
That's a question.
I don't think I asserted that they were mechanistic.
Never did.
No, he was asking.
Never said you did. I'm asking.
Yeah.
Why are they mechanistic? Wouldn't that presuppose that I affirmed that they're mechanistic?
No, I'm asking you, are they mechanistic?
You're asking, are they mechanistic? Not why are they mechanistic?
Yes.
Define mechanistic.
So you're unfamiliar with the term, or you think I'm using it in some ambiguous sense?
I'm unfamiliar with the term. I'm unfamiliar with the term.
What you're talking about there.
In this context.
Yeah, so it's just the necessary condition for which furnishes the process of affiliation.
I asked you a question. Are you asking me
if
his thoughts are deterministic?
Well, that can be one, right? They're determined?
Right, so they're predetermined, they're necessary, they could not be any other way.
They can't be any other way. So there's gonna be a contradiction if I reject this, right?
Correct. I think.
You think? If it's necessary, you should ascertain that proposition. Why would you be?
Okay, so my belief. I mean, I'm talking about myself.
Right? So, yeah, can you derive the contradiction?
Can I derive the contradiction? If you, well, let me think about that for a second.
If it's the case you can't derive this contradiction, and it's just going to be compatible with alternate models of God for which God can be substituted for some other concept of some.
Actually, I think what is this? I think this is called the two-co-k fallacy, where you were supposed to be making the positive case that God does not exist. Now you're asking me to make the positive case that God must exist.
No, you asserted that he exists because he has
shifting the goalpost.
How's that shifting the goalpost?
Yeah,
Because
he's saying
the
random
con-
shit. He doesn't know what he's talking about. By the way,
Yeah.
man,
So go ahead.
go ahead, Dart. Sorry. No, I mean, go ahead. You can take over the conversation. I mean, I thought like maybe, if I was to present the argument, we would have to establish like what the terms mean and what we are talking about. So I think this is reasonable that you're asking these questions. This is completely relevant.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I mean,
No, I'm not saying you're off topic. No, you asked me to.
I don't see what goalposts was shifted because you asserted a specific element was in. Well, you said that an element of characteristic or predication was necessary to facilitate the entity of God. So I asked, of course, if this was a logical necessity.
What
do you mean? I asked you
I don't
if.
think I may.
Well, you said they're necessary, and I said, would they entail contradiction? You said yes.
No, the question was, so this all started from you asking what similarity does God's mind have with our minds, and I said sentience, right? And then there was a question about his thoughts and if God has the capacity to create thoughts, or that his thoughts were already constructed. I said that his thoughts were pre-eternally constructed, right? And then you said, are they mechanistic? No, you said why are they mechanistic? I said I didn't
ask why. Mechanistic. I asked if there's a mechanism.
I'm pretty sure you asked why are they mechanistic.
No, I didn't.
That would presuppose that I affirmed that they are mechanistic, and I asked you to clarify what mechanistic meant. If by mechanistic you were saying that they're necessary.
Okay, well, I'm trying to get an understanding.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to get an understanding. Do you believe that, let's say, the set of elements or whatever characteristics that somehow accommodate the existence of God, if one of them was to be gone, obviously you're going to say that's going to entail contradiction, as you said before. But the idea is that are these specific elements that compose the nature of God? Well, right now, that's not even what I'm attacking. So the idea is, if I was, let's say, one element of God, you said it's determined or not. Is there any, I don't know, antecedent condition that produces them?
So you're asking me to define my model so that you can deconstruct it. Is that correct?
I'm asking if there's any. No, right? Well,
I can tell you my beliefs. Hang on, I can tell you my beliefs.
I'm just wondering. Do you believe that? But he doesn't.
So I'm.
Obtain. So the.
I can believe that. Yeah.
The elements of God are completely random, right?
But don't interrupt me when I speak, please. Go ahead.
The elements of God are completely random, right?
No.
They're not random. So there's an antecedent condition that for. Well, you believe that they're eternal, right? Unconditional?
Correct.
Okay, so if they're not conditional, they don't possess any antecedent condition for which furnishes them, for which would be definitionally the fact that they're random, right? It's the case that God had this essential component in virtue of nothing, right?
In virtue of nothing, correct.
Okay, so God is just an arbitrary entity.
I don't think that's the definition of arbitrary.
It's without reason, right? Reason is an independent motivation. There's no antecedent condition that motivates this necessary condition of God, right? It's just going to be there without any reason.
God is the reason.
Well, yeah, that's going to be like, that's going to be circular reasoning, right?
Circular reasoning is circular causation, circular. So the definition of arbitrary is based on random choice or personal whim. Right? And you just asked me, is God random? I said no. So I'm being consistent.
It's not random.
That God is not arbitrary.
So it's the case that God.
That's what I said.
So it's the case that God.
Consistent.
Okay. So it's the case.
You failed to show a contradiction.
Well, we're getting to that, right? So is it the case that God can possibly have a different set of elements and characteristics that composes nature in essence?
Right. That is my belief, but I'm not going to prove that to you because again, asking me to prove that to you would be shifting.
I'm not asking you to prove. I'm not asking you to prove that. I'm asking.
Okay, that's fine.
Is that what you hold?
Then I'll affirm that. Yes, correct. That is what I hold to.
Okay. And once again, these are essential, right? Necessary for the existence of this entity. You did say that earlier.
Are necessary for the existence of the entity. They are the entity, so I don't know that. Yeah, so if they were different, then it would be a different entity.
Okay. Well, I mean, that's a contradiction in itself, right? You said that.
So?
Well, yeah, you said that. Well, earlier you did say the idea that it was arbitrary and that a different set of
I don't
elements.
recall ever saying that it was arbitrary. I think I've been pretty consistent on that.
Well, you agreed it's random. That there's no conditions for the elements of God.
No, you asked me that twice, and each time I said no. So I don't know.
No, you did initially say the opposite.
I don't recall saying the opposite.
So it's not the
Anyone recording
case.
this, by the way?
Yeah, Dart, you can ask him like, what's then going to be like distinction between them being random, right, and between what he said.
Well, the idea is that he's saying they're not random, right? He's saying they're
But
not
he's,
arbitrary.
I
So
said that multiple
yeah.
times.
yeah, so I'm not understanding what conditions these elements for God. Because if they're essential,
God, so there's a circularity there, right? So God itself.
My name's Michael Jackson of the Jack.
okay, I mean,
Welcome.
You guys
Embarrassing.
You guys want to ban this guy?
I don't know who's on. Is there any mods even here?
Actually,
Yeah,
let's
I
time
already
him
banned
out.
him already. He's gone.
What was his username? Jojo or something?
Bold and not mods, bold.
His name is yeah.
Let me check the logs 1 second.
Embarrassing.
Okay, go ahead. Continue.
Yeah, so you're saying that God facilitates his own set of characteristics. The characteristics themselves are necessary to fulfill the nature of God.
Correct.
Okay,
Spin
and
Dasher, that was his name, Spin Dasher.
I'm
Spin Dasher.
that just doesn't make sense to me.
Not.
So, well, the idea is that's just not going to be compatible with truth, right? What framework or theory of truth are you committed to? Because the idea is that it's not even fitting the touchstone of truth.
What framework of truth do I hold?
Yeah,
to? Like, are you asking for like?
Yeah, what theory of truth do you commit to?
Would that be like
Correspondence. Every
S5,
single-
S4?
Every single Muslim is correspondence.
Yeah, he doesn't know anything about theories of truth. You would have to explain that as well.
So
It's complete ignoramus.
I'm assuming that's correspondent theory of truth.
Yeah, every Muslim is correspondence theorist. You cannot be Muslim if you deny correspondence theory.
Okay, so do you believe that truth is that which corresponds with the nature of reality?
Yes.
Okay, so
So I'm clearly unfamiliar with the terms. If you want to discuss with somebody else who's more familiar, I think that would be more appropriate.
I mean, I think we're doing fine.
I mean, no, your guy just said that I'm an ignoramus, which kind of rude, but
Bro,
yeah, you're gonna have to. I'm not familiar with the terminology, right?
yo, y'all use so much big words in here. Can y'all like be civilized and stop using big words?
No.
Yeah, just buy a dictionary, man.
No.
Okay, well then. That's a you problem.
You think you're smart or something, huh? You think you're a genius or something?
No,
Okay,
it just seems
you
you
guys
never
know about-
picked up a book.
I don't need to pick up a book, okay?
Are you guys familiar with 12verism?
Wait, right, but why
Well,
you
we don't like
fucking
12. We run from 12.
Okay, who is this guy? I mean,
Based Omar.
Are you guys familiar?
You guys know 12 verse.
Let's just talk about 12verism.
Yeah, a 12verism copy Christianity, by the way.
I agree. I completely agree.
Omar, I love you, man.
Thank you. Okay, why don't you take over? Because I don't know about this theory.
I don't talk to Kafar.
Yeah, 12verism is just an abomination.
12verism is false. 12verism is indeed false.
By the way, Dart, are you familiar like with the argument I was alluding to earlier when it comes to why, if God existed prior to creation, right, he cannot be omniscient? In a sense that that's going to be, I mean, that's the proposition that they're giving. Like they want to say that God is analytically defined as omniscient mind, right?
Mhm.
And they want to say that's kind of going to be understood in a modal sense, right? He cannot not be. It's not going to be the case that it just happens to be that he knows all true propositions or something like that, right? Contingently. He has to know them by some kind of necessity. But it seems like the argument that you can present is that if the content of God's mental state is going to be internal, right, to his nature, because there is no external world that he can refer to, right? So all of the content is going to be just content internal. And if there could be like a mental state without the world in this sense, then Cartesian skeptical scenarios are just going to be applicable in principle, right? So the argument might be phrased like, if minds without external world can exist, then Cartesian scenarios are possible. God is defined as an omniscient mind. That's an analytical proposition. If Cartesian scenarios are possible, omniscient minds cannot exist. God is an omniscient mind, therefore God cannot exist.
Yeah, I've heard this argument. Pretty sure Jack and Trick
Yeah.
use this.
Yeah, it's his. Yeah, exactly.
Bro.
I don't even
I think like he
understand.
took this. Sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say I don't understand how one can confer that God has any omni property.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I agree.
I mean, the entirety of the God hypothesis is, let me just take a large aggregate of normative virtues and put them into one collection, for which we would just invoke to be simplicity, even though they're evidently distinct concepts in nature, and then somehow act as if that explains more, even though it explains less. Like, I can grant the guy I was talking to the fact that a God does exist, but that's not gonna generate any form of prediction that it is the case, therefore that deity would have the intention of producing a universe. That just wouldn't follow. So then one would have to give an account for an intentional state.
Yeah, they don't do that. They don't have an account for that. They just assert it, and they built it into the hypothesis, which is going to be like a spurious unification when they try to present it as the explanation.
And that's the very idea. The entirety of God is just normative virtues, things stipulated without an argument that can actually conclude that. Right? They can say,
exactly.
Like, many people argue that, I don't know, like, analogously, like, if it is the case God has an ultimate plan and intentional state of producing a universe, it's infinitely more likely than some abiogenesis. But the idea is, like, obviously they're just stipulating the idea that he has this intentional state.
Yeah, I mean, I completely agree with you. Yeah. It's just a bunch of assertions and stipulations that cannot be, I mean, as far as I can tell, argued for in any kind of coherent way.
I mean, a simple way of just giving, rather than a form of falsification defeater, more of a stolzifying one, is the idea of just giving like a general undercutting defeater with like the idea of ontological economy and the fact that a proposition or ontological commodity is going to be economically cheaper under the consideration of the same form of explanatory power without the unnecessary ontological commitment. So it's just going to be the case, especially because, I mean, all of God is just going to be a set of normative virtues that God hypothesis has way too much unnecessary, unaccountable for stipulations that can like be equally competing, if not, I would say, worse than naturalism, even though I'm not a naturalist.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it has much higher ontological cost, so why would anybody be committed to that? At least based on what you said, we should just rule it out.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't argued in a while on anything theology. Anything like theology related probably shows because my rhetoric was like horrendous.
No, man, you were good. I mean, first of all, I don't take people in here to be kind of, I mean, I don't know, but based on my encounter here, they don't sound to be knowledgeable, right? Usually they don't have clue what you're saying, right? Most of the time. And they think like there is a guy called Jihadist in here. They think like he knows stuff. And he's a total dumbass, right? Yeah, he has like a minor in philosophy or something, but he's a total. I debated him and I was, muted the whole time, and then he put me quote unquote in jail, which is like I couldn't see VCs. Whenever I join the server, like all of the VCs are blocked and stuff, And
Really?
I actually called him out for like a formal debate and stuff, to be recorded, and he declined.
Yeah.
Of course, on neutral grounds, right? Yeah.
I know. I'm pretty sure he's Muslim. I know this guy named Adam. I don't know if he's in this server specifically, but I've argued with him before. In fact, I've argued with his friend that he felt the need to jump in, and then there was like 3 people on me, but that was a while back. Or like a month ago, maybe almost 2 months ago. I won $30 from that debate. They got obliterated. It was pretty bad, but they kicked me out of the server, and the reason for it was apparently I had a potty mouth, which wasn't in the rules, but apparently that's prohibited, and it's just not in the rules. So I got banned, not kicked, banned. They said you can come back in 10 years. But the guy added
That just means, man, that just means like you kick their asses, that's all.
Yeah, they said you can come back when you're more mature.
Can I ask you a question? Wait, could I ask you a question, Dan?
Sure.
So do people do you necessarily, have you ever like wanted to argue with a religious person about their beliefs?
Yeah, I used to do it like all the time.
Why?
because I don't see why one would commit to a belief that is evidently false, or has no.
Yeah, but why? But why?
He wants power and money and sex and girls. That's why.
No, but serious question. Like, why?
Why? Well, I mean, it's the same reason one would go to school to get education, right? I don't feel the need as to leave someone in the dark. Why not enlighten them?
Okay, so you think it's all due to your increase of knowledge over your lifetime? That's your motive.
Well, I mean, I'm considerate for the people who have some form of subscription to an idea without any form of sufficient justificatory scope that, somehow justifies the belief they are committed to.
Yeah, but if you're fighting for your own information, your own knowledge in your lifetime, then why care about other people?
What do you mean?
Well, why do you have some sort of personal, not problem, but personal issue with what they know and what they don't know? If it's not affecting you and you only are seeming to care about your information in your lifetime, then why do you have the human nature to try and help them?
I don't get what you're getting at. It's like you're inquiring why I have this like form of normative state. Why do you have this desire? But
yeah, well, exactly. Why? That's what I'm getting at. Why?
Well, it's just like anyone who desires candy, right?
No. Candy's a different thing. Candy tastes nice. Candy is a physical thing. I'm not speaking about physical things. Candy tastes nice. It's sweet. You enjoy it.
But taste isn't physical, correct?
Hello.
Taste isn't physical.
Object of candy, and taste is a sense. The physical object of candy, and you taste it, and it feels nice, and it releases chemicals.
Yeah. So taste itself isn't physical. It's emergent from an experience with a physical object. But the idea is that it's not relevant whether or not one is to commit to this physical entity for which they get this, emergent status mentally, right? Because I have no, like, what's the point in inquiring my normative state? That's not relevant. It is relevant. All you're doing is asking why one possesses some subjective quality.
No, yeah, but I'm asking about this specific subjective quality. Why? Because I asked you, why do you do it?
Okay, so let me ask you this. This is like analogously. Well, the idea is that it's just not going to be reducible to anything that you're going to find adequate, right? The idea is like, why would one be committed or have this desire for candy? I mean, even if we're to, exclude the idea that it has cavities or like some form of negative connotation, but the idea is like, one desires candy, right? For which the emergent sense experience or subjective experience of taste is what they desire. Well, then I just ask again, why do you desire something to taste good, right? One's not going to produce any form of justificatory scope that you're desiring for why they have this desire or desired taste. That, like, whether or not I have this desire, what is that going to benefit? Are you trying to make an account for why I shouldn't commit to this view of enlightening others?
I was just asking why.
Yeah, so if someone is committed to, producing the action of drawing, and you're just to say, why do you like drawing? Well, it's just going to be the case that actuating this state of affairs is going to be beneficial to them subjectively, and that the desire has no relation to some. I don't know what you're trying to get at. Do you want some inference rule for why? Do you want me to draw an inference to why I'm justified in holding the belief of drawing or some subjective emergent quality?
No.
That's why I justify.
So it's not going to be relevant whether or not I care to enlighten people.
I wasn't asking you to explain my question. I was just asking you a question.
Yeah. So the answer is just that it is, right? Yeah, I don't even know what you're trying to get at. Are you trying to get why ought it be the case I commit to the action?
I asked a question. I asked a question. So my question was why? Why do you feel like you?
Yeah.
So I asked you, what is your benefit? You said that you want to benefit from.
Yeah. So in the sense of normativity, do you know do you have like any rudimentary understanding of like Hume's guillotine?
Say again?
Hume's guillotine. Are you aware of this concept?
No.
Okay. Well, the idea is that you're not going to derive an ought from an is. So if I have some form of normative status that it is the case I desire X state of affairs, it's not what you're trying to inquire is get some for me to provide or furnish or generate some form of basis for why it ought be the case that I have this desire when it's just an is.
Why is it just an is? Is this what you? So
yeah. So that's literally what I just represented. The idea of the inquiry is why ought it be the case I have this is, but the idea is that you can't generate an ought from an is. So it's just going to be the case that it is, right? If I ask you why do you like candy and you say because of the taste of it, right? Well, if I ask someone why do you enjoy that experience of taste, then they're not going to be able to generate any form of relevant or adequate thing that you're hoping to expect. Like, what more are you going to get from someone's qualia of subjective interest?
It's not subjective interest.
It's not subjective. What do you mean it's not subjective interest? If my interest is to enlighten people of atheism, right?
You just said it is. That's not a subjective idea. Well, I mean, you can have different like.
Do you understand the distinction between subjective and objective? Do you know what it?
An objective.
Yeah. So you know when something's objective, it's non-mind dependent, right? It's independent of any form of agency. Yeah. So my desire, a normative state, is not going to be objective, unless you have an argument that can produce that.
No. See.
So why? So it's not the case. You have an argument to demonstrate that there's subjective desires.
Yeah. So I ask you, why would you have this urge to?
Why are you giving me a question? I don't care to answer your question until you provide me with a response.
What is your question after not answering my question?
Yeah. So is it the case? Yeah. Is it the case that a normative desire is somehow objective? Is the state of desire somehow objective?
But see.
It's a yes or no question. Do you not know how a binary question works?
Oh, it's odd that you say that because I asked you a question and you.
Yeah, I'll get to your question right after because you produced the question ladder to me, conveying my own question. Yeah.
Thank you for getting to my question after.
So is it yes, no? Are you gonna answer the question?
Oh, what are you guys talking about?
Yeah, I don't know. This guy's like gibberating. He wants me to like.
Okay, Darth. So if you don't have any interest in talking to him, can I ask you a question?
I mean,
ask him.
I'm hoping for him to give a response to my question. I mean, if he doesn't, then sure, you can.
No, Darth.
Yeah.
I'm not here.
What question?
No. I asked him a question.
If a normative state is subjective.
Alright, I won't speak. I asked him a question. It wasn't like he doesn't know the answer. I assume he knows the answer. Obviously, it wasn't like I didn't want him to know. I wanted to know his answer, and I asked him a question. I asked him a question, basically saying, as an atheist, if you're an atheist, then why do you feel the urge to?
Yeah, just you lagged out.
What question, bro?
Yeah, so I don't know what he was trying to get at, but he asked me a question of, if I'm an atheist, why do I feel the need to go about enlightening others in my position of atheism? Oh, that's not the idea?
I said questioning. No, I said questioning them. Questioning, not enlightening, questioning.
Oh, okay. Yeah, well, I mean, that doesn't make much difference, but sure.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so okay, Darth, answer his question, then I'll ask you my question. Go on.
He knows the answer already.
Answer his question? Yeah. What question do you have?
So, okay, no problem. So, are you asking me what my question is?
Yes.
Okay, Darth.
Oh, so I'm done with this other guy? Sure.
So
sure.
This is going to be a different topic, and I'm interested in hearing what you have to say about this issue.
Okay.
But firstly, do you believe the universe has a cause?
No, I don't believe in causality. And
okay.
And no, wait. So well, I just said I don't believe in the idea of causality, right? But
so nothing, right?
No, I'm not. Are you tracking when I say I don't believe in causality, right, or causation? Talking about the concept of cause and effect, not the idea that the universe itself was causally produced.
Okay,
right?
So everything always existed, correct?
Sorry.
So everything always existed, right?
What? How? This is like extraneous from my response.
You said this. Listen,
so I'm denying the idea that causality is subjective, right? I don't have consideration for the idea of causality. Are you aware of Hume's critique?
Explain your view with regards to beings and then if they began to exist or not. Go on.
Well, I don't believe in creation either. It's not that like I can use these terms in a fictional sense, but
hold on a second. One second. Hold on.
Sure, go ahead.
I have to actually. Okay, now I realize there's something wrong here. You don't affirm creation?
No, I don't.
Wait. Okay. So what are we then?
Wait, are we? I don't understand what that question even means. That's like too vague.
What am I?
Human, Homo sapien.
Okay.
What more do you want?
Okay. What is a human? Is it a creation or what is it?
What is the point of asking that question?
What is a human?
So first of all, oh my God, you just asked two questions that are so redundant. You asked me.
Why are you saying, "Oh my God"? If
wait,
God is
one
real?
second. Yo, Fez, one second. I'm kidding. One second.
Oh, my God is naturalism. If that makes you feel better.
Hello, 1 second, Darth. 1 second. Listen. I am not debating philosophy day and night and then staying up until I don't know 5 a.m. or 4 a.m. discussing. I'm just trying to understand what you believe. Okay, so listen.
Yeah. So if you're trying to make some causal or contingency argument for God, it's just gonna fail on that.
Hold on.
Go ahead.
Okay. I don't know. I don't know what that was about because all he had to ask was what you believed in, not these tantalizingly.
Yeah, he asked me what do I believe humans are, and then he was like, "What was the cause of the universe?" And then I rejected both of those concepts. But he tries to run the argument under the framework of me granting those ideas.
I don't know what that was. I mean, it's obvious. Like, if you're on a debating thing, you're gonna know the difference between causality and I don't know. Oh my God. Yeah, but so yeah, so you're an atheist or agnostic? I'm Brian.
I'm atheist.
Atheist. That means that you have no belief in that there being a god. There is 0% of being a god.
Yeah, I merely
Or a
possess the
creation.
lack of conviction
Cool.
or credence that God exists. I have
No, no,
a
it's not
good
about
reason
your
to.
conviction, is that yeah, of course. Well, good reason doesn't mean is 100%.
Well, first of all,
0%.
there's
Good reason.
there's there's a modernist version of atheism which is more lexical. If you go on Oxford Dictionary, it's going to be the case that atheism is just the lack of persuasion that a deity exists, right? If you're talking about a more philosophical account for atheism, that is more
So as I was
archaic.
saying, so
Wait, no,
so
so
as
you
a-
can't just come in and
Hold
one
on,
second,
yeah,
Fed.
hold on,
One second, Fed.
hold on. I'm talking.
So
Okay.
as I was saying,
Yeah,
Sammy, you can't come
Yeah.
into a debate and speak twice and deafen. That's not how it works.
yeah. I
the
was
problem was I had someone come in, right?
okay. Well, I was in the middle of a
And I
conversation
said
in a
as well,
sentence.
I said as well 1 second, so I had to wait for 1 second. Hold on. Sammy, why don't you just like mute up for a second, let the other people finish their conversation? Well, they seem to have finished before because the guy did not even want to continue.
I
That's
mean-
why he went down to me. When you unmuted.
Yeah, you
Okay,
literally just cut
Okay,
me
so
off.
there was no conversation. So I guess there was a new debate started with a span of 25 seconds.
There
Okay,
was,
go on.
you
Sammy,
went
hold
for
us,
25
hold us,
seconds. You've been gone for a little bit now. Sammy, just calm
It's fine.
down,
By the way,
relax.
if anyone wants to
listen.
speak, by the way, then you can. But the way he came in was bad. Sammy, if you want to speak, 5 seconds and you can speak. I'm not trying to take over. I'm just asking him questions so I can write it down because I'm interested. I don't think I know everything. I'm interested in what he has to believe. Okay, what was you speaking about, Golf?
Sorry, I forgot what was the last thing we were saying.
You were giving.
We're talking about-
You were talking about
Yeah,
accounts of it, what atheism is, and
Yeah,
it
that's-
seems like FC was trying to like convince you to the view that atheism must mean that there's a 0% chance
Oh, yeah.
of exists. Which I don't
Yeah,
think
so an
Oh,
account of
I was just saying that. I was just asking you to believe.
well, yeah, there's an archaic philosophical sense of atheism, which is the idea that deities or some ontic state of deities are to be false, right? Where they downright reject that there is any ontological status referential to the idea of some supreme being. But there's also the lexical account, which is more modernist, that holds the idea that one is just to lack the mere conviction of a deity's existence rather than downright, I guess to denounce it to be false.
So there could be a creator. That's what you believe in.
Yeah, it depends on the model. If you're some accounts of Muslim Christianity and other forms of gods, I'm going to say under the framework of their model, it's going to be downright false. Right? I can falsify specific models of God.
Wait, Darth, is the Trinity logical?
Is the Trinity logical?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't take much consideration into that. The idea that there's three of the same identity seems odd.
Yeah, you probably shouldn't spend much time on that. No, I'm joking. Okay. So you consider that. So sometimes, so what is it with your belief? So maybe sometimes it's 51% there's no God. Sometimes it's 49% there's no, or sometimes it's like 60. Or like all
What
the
you
time
want?
there's-
You want a percentage?
There can't be a God. No, but I want an understanding because you said that you're an atheist. There's a kind of like degree in what new atheism is. So it doesn't really matter what you call it. So I want to know what your belief is. So you believe that there could be a creator, but you're very more persuaded that there is not a creator in this universe.
Under specific models, there can't. Right? It's not going to be a universal declaration.
Okay.
I mean, obviously, definitions aren't fixed. One can use some just like odd. Like they can use the term God in a parlance that seems to somehow invoke it in some colloquial sense, while it's just like proprietary or idiosyncratic.
That's what I wanted to know. Okay, good. That's what you're trying to ask them.
Okay. So I suppose that you guys are done now, right?
Sure, you can.
Alhamdulillah. طيب. So Darth, what are humans exactly? Can you tell me what humans are?
Homo sapien.
Okay, so would that mean that they're creation or no?
No, why would that?
Okay, so what are they other than creation?
What does that? That's a vague question.
What are they other than being Homo sapien? Like, are they creation? Are they uncreated? You said, so you've already denied the idea of creation, right? So I'm trying to understand what you believe.
The idea is that it's opaque to what categorization are you using. Like you're using the conception of creation, and then you're like, what are they? Are they creation? Are they this? Are they that? Well, you're not giving me any other examples where I can like somehow support the pattern. What do I believe? Well, I think humans.
If you believe there's a different option, then give me it. I want to understand. Go
well, I mean, through the sciences, it's going to be the idea that human life is emergent from some set of processes. I'm not necessarily committed to the idea of abiogenesis. Well, the idea is that I'm not committed to science, right?
Okay,
I mean, I can, in fact, I could care less for induction.
Do you believe that things happen?
Wait,
so
yeah,
right now, I spoke to you, right?
Sure.
Something happened.
In some sense. under a
In some,
specific
okay.
yes, under a specific scope.
Expanding what you mean by in some sense. Go on.
Well, in some sense, right, I could be in a Cartesian skeptical scenario, right, for where
Yeah,
it's
but I'm
okay.
asking. Listen, I didn't ask you what scenario. I'm asking what do you believe, right? Because obviously there's skeptics who would even.
Well, I would
would
just say
even
I'm
consider
agnostic,
it even
right?
exists. But I'm asking you like you specifically, right? Do you believe that right now I'm speaking to you?
Generally, no. I wouldn't be. No, I wouldn't have the conviction that you are necessarily speaking to me. I mean, in some set of domain, sure, yeah, right. If you're talking about my raw intuition, I can't be wrong about that. My subjective experience, right? I'm gonna be experiencing someone talking to me. If you're talking, more metaphysical, right, where you're, I don't know, branching on into the noumenal as opposed to the phenomenal experience, then no, I
Okay, do
wouldn't
you hear me right now?
Yeah.
Okay, great. So, but you said you don't have certainty that you and I exist, right?
No certainty. No, I don't ascertain that view.
Listen, the problem with this belief is, in my opinion, you might get insulted by
Why,
this.
why would I care for your opinion?
You should be hospitalized, because the thing is this: what's stopping you from going out on a highway, driving 180 kilometers an hour, and
yeah, that's a weak argument.
What's stopping you from doing that? Because you don't believe
With their
it doesn't
desire
exist.
not
Yeah. So
yeah, no, yeah.
hold on,
Listen, this desire which you're talking about doesn't even exist according to him. So it doesn't really matter, does it?
Well, first of all,
Tell me about that.
hold on. Let me respond to this, because it's so evidently bad. I'm pretty sure everyone here can just I can say for certainty at least 90% of the people muted are laughing. But yeah, so
yeah, laughing at you.
Oh yeah, sure. Yeah, of course, that's just not going to be any form of strong. The idea is that whether or not you can represent any form of counterfactual state of affairs, there's still going to be indeterminate. It's going to be the case that one possesses one sense of subjective experience, and juxtapose all considerations exhaustively of other, of the infinite set of underdeterminate worldviews. It's going to be the case that one is going to be committed to entertaining the view that they experience.
Listen, the thing is this, right? Listen,
it's this simple.
Okay, so something?
Yeah, it's gonna be this simple. There's a cliff in front of me. There's wait.
How can you be debating? One second. How can you be discussing?
Why don't you just wait until the
stop cheerleading. Stop cheerleading, my friend. Listen.
Just wait until the sentence is
I'm not.
listen.
Stop cheerleading.
So you realize.
Let him speak. Listen, stop insulting. Okay, now I can insult you all day long. Don't insult.
Don't respond to him. I'm muted.
Damn, they server muted.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, first of all. Yeah, like I said, obviously the underdeterminate possibilities of an infinite set is going to just be they're not going to be equally competing or co-equal referential to the state of intuition for which one would have to entertain their views. Even then, I'm not committed to the idea of some modal realism in the sense of a lengthic modality. So I can just appeal to modal monism, for which the only state of affairs is the is. Right? I don't have to have any consideration of any other modal standpoint. It could be the case that I'm a fictionalist about all other possibilities. So it's going to be the case that my perception is the only reality, and that I have direct access to the noumenal world, right?
Okay, great. So, but so go on. No problem. Go on.
I was just gonna ask, I understand that you have this understanding of what you perceive and what you do in life, but it's more like I asked you a question about why you do things. So do you have a reasonable idea? Do you have an idea of reason, or do you just think that the world is just here by chance, by programmable chance?
Well, the idea is that
there's no reason.
Whether or not there's an account for an external world that one is of the impression of, right? I'm doing an external critique for which, well, if one is to argue that of some manner that there is some necessity upon the idea that some deity must be, one must be a proponent of the idea that a deity exists for which they can generate a universe and facilitate. If there's no universe for which that is possible, there's not going to be a deity that one can argue for. So if one can't account for modal monism or skeptical scenarios, it's just not going to be interesting whether or not one is to believe in God, because you have no grounds to make an adjudication. If you want, I can also represent this as a formal inference.
I didn't ask about your connection of being reasoned with God. I asked I also obviously if you believe in it, and obviously you went through the
Do I believe in anything?
Reason. No, yeah, but it's just what do you want in life? What do you want?
What I desire? Well, weren't you here when Marco? Yeah, so Marco.
I was going to elaborate, but go on.
Yeah, so Marco spoke for me earlier. I don't know if you were there, but when was it you that you asked what would I desire in life, and he said money, women, sex, fame, all that stuff, pretty much.
No, I didn't ask that.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what he said.
Well, that's pretty much what everyone desires, right? It's
no.
No?
Not
okay.
Naturally. I mean, naturally. Yeah.
What do you mean not naturally? Are you talking about?
Hold on. So
an exit?
I'm on about that first impulse of desire, that first impulse of desire, that first decision of of realization, like, oh, I shouldn't be designing this, and obviously that comes from their moral objective, like their objective morality, like their objective structure.
Yeah, I don't know why you're invoking objective morals without giving an account for why they exist.
Yeah. Okay. So Darth, I let you speak for 1 second, but then you went into a whole. But yeah, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, you can go then. I was just asking because he speaks with so much knowledge and understanding. But
yeah, ladies, one at a time. One at a time.
The problem with Darth is when you can't even affirm your own existence, you end up with a terrible life. And the reality is, Darth,
he wakes up. I didn't affirm my own existence.
He wakes up at 8 a.m. and then he goes to school till 4 p.m. And his whole life, his whole life has absolutely no meaning. Like imagine that you're working like a 9 to 5 and you're providing for your family, but at the end of the day, your life has no qima, has no worth. Why would you live a life that has no meaning? It makes no sense.
Well, I don't. Yeah, I don't know why you're expressing all these views that I never gave brevity to.
I'm expressing them to show that what
you
believe.
Did I ever say this stuff?
I'm showing you that you're.
Well, you're not showing. You're saying.
If I was to believe in these sort of things.
Man, what are you doing, man? No,
yeah.
Like,
yeah. So
you're going at. No, wait, Sammy, don't do that because that's his life. He can choose what he wants to do with that.
No, I'm not saying. Listen, my friend, I did not say anything about his life and so on and so forth. My point was his life. All he thinks he's doing in life has no qima, has no meaning. It's all worthless. It is actions with no purpose. It's basically doing nothing.
Now people will laugh at you because your meaning is something different to his. He's saying that you.
Yeah. So what is? Are you aware of Grice's maxims? Do you know what the maxim of relation is, right? Or not?
Explain it. Go on. Let's hear.
Yeah. So there's 4 maxims that I'm aware of from Grice. I don't know if you're familiar with him, Grice maxim. But the idea of his maxims, or at least the maxim of relation, is that within some domain of dialect, one should be or stay considerate to the relevancy and pertinence within some set topic, and contribute only relevant information and convey stuff that somehow is pertinent to what one is speaking of. And when you keep talking about whether or not one has some relevancy in life, that's not an argument. Whether or not I can account for why one is on Earth or not is irrelevant, right? Like, what does it matter if my life has purpose? That's not an argument for God, nor against, unless you can make an inference for why, or I don't know, of that relation.
You're not composing an argument of if God.
I did not. One second. Listen, I did not start. Listen, I don't know what the hell this guy's listening to. I don't know if he's listening to Spotify or something. I did not start this conversation by saying, "Yeah, man, I'm going to prove the existence of God." My point was to show that this guy, and he's living a life that has no purpose. Meaning that each and every single action which he's doing has no purpose. So
great.
He's living a worthless life.
That's
great. No purpose.
That's great.
It's like
wow.
Like the dust. Listen. It is like the dust inside my PC. Nothing.
Yeah, I'm not interested.
You understand?
I'm not interested.
Subjective, bro. You're arguing. Okay, listen.
Yeah, I'm not interested in whether or not.
He's not interested in that.
Yeah, why would I be interested in this?
Why is there a purpose? You're coming from a background of your beliefs that you believe there's a purpose. He doesn't. So he might.
No, but you don't understand. Listen, hold on. Stop defending him, ya habibi. The point. Listen.
Wait, Enes, can I give you an alternative viewpoint, right? Wouldn't it be the case that in their worldview, right, since they don't believe in like a heaven or hell, right, they would take this world more seriously?
I mean,
and thus have more meaning in a sense, right? Like every
because there's
so
meaning,
no, for them.
Hold on. If you want to go down this route, we can gladly conversate on whether or not the relation of like a meaningful life is like, somehow has more virtues under the consideration of a theistic hypothesis. And do you want to go around? We can talk about. Oh, yo, what's up, Akano?
What's up?
Yeah, hope you're doing good. Sorry about everything that happened.
No, it's all good.
What's
the discussion?
Yeah, I'm just arguing with a bunch of waffling baboons at this point.
Oh man, what happened? What?
Yeah, they muted Synth. I don't know why.
I'm not muting.
Waffles and baboons, huh?
Okay,
yeah.
I don't know who this semi guy is, but mate.
I mean, your ability.
You are, mate. But I'll tell you this. Listen, when someone this is the issue. When you have no meaning in life, you cannot establish that anything has any right. So, as an example, a man or a woman.
Sorry.
Okay, these laws we have in a country. These rules
can I get clarity? Can I get clarity?
Life becomes.
Hold on. I have a terrifying question.
Hold on. Life becomes like. Listen. Hold on a second. Stop interrupting my friend.
Well, I'm not clear.
I know that you find this very problematic. But let me just finish.
No, I'm not clear on what you said.
Whatever your name is. Hold on a second.
Yo, wait,
the point of the matter is that, listen. Well, let's say as an example, for a human being, you establish that a human being has certain rights. Okay, if you believe that rights, as an example, I cannot come and murder you right now and your whole family. Okay, that's as an example. That's a right that you have. The problem is this: when you start negating that you have any purpose, you cannot establish.
Why is that relevant?
Interrupting, my friend. What is wrong with you? Are you absolutely?
Okay. Who's this guy at the bottom? How do I say your name? The dude who.
Okay, let me turn down your. thing, because I'm done with you like talking over me. I actually want to be able to finish so you can speak after me. Okay. So the point is this: you as a human being, okay, you have rights. Okay, you have the right to, as an example, not go around getting slaughtered by crazy individuals. Okay, these are rules and these are rights. When you start negating the purpose of life, when you start negating all this other stuff, you have no basis to affirm the right of any being. Meaning that I could hypothetically go out and rape you right now, and you have no to say it's wrong because you believe in life. You believe in the purpose of life.
Can I respond?
The point of this argument is to say what your life is like. Nothing, it's worth it. It's nothing.
Great.
Okay. Simon,
so
then
so the scope of this discussion is whether or not there is an ontic deity, right? Whether or not, like, what are you bringing the legislation of policy, right? That's just an artifact. Why would I have any consideration for this? This is super extraneous to the point that's being like discussed with me and FZ 2023 initially. That you're just bringing up like the what human value? Are you gonna make an inference for why under the God hypothesis there's like some form of value? I don't know how you're deriving God from value. Whether or not the God hypothesis posits this, that's not going to be any form of like how is this relevant at all? This isn't any form of evidence. This isn't weak evidence, strong evidence. This is not going to lend credence to anyone's beliefs of whether or not God exists. You're just like literally just you're just being an absolute idiot. Listen, if you don't care,
so Fed, stop defending this kafir and actually let it finish what he's saying. Stop adding these any extra stuff. Let him just finish what he's saying. Man.
He's on your side. He's on your side.
He's saying so I can respond to his nonsense.
Listen, so he's on your side. The idea is that what you're just saying is like no one cares for it.
Like, okay, listen. You can say no one cares for it. I personally don't care what the hell anyone says on Discord because everyone is sitting.
Okay. It's fine if.
But listen, Darth.
The other people.
One second, Darth. Listen.
This isn't a boom.
I'm going to turn down your volume again because I'm not going to have these.
I mean, we can play the same game.
Did I say this argument is to literally?
Well, you didn't make an argument.
Prove
this isn't an argument of anything.
No, the point of the argument.
Well, that's my
your
point.
Life is like nothing. You cannot prove anything is good or bad. Literally nothing. Let's say someone comes and literally does the greatest crime against you. You have no basis to even reject it. So your life is, and this life would be horrendous and insane if we had no God. You had nothing to tell us.
Listen,
this is the whole point. You can say this argument is bad, but I believe it's great because we
know you believe your argument is correct, Sammy.
If we did not have any meaning in life, then we have
pinch off this turd of a
nothing
run-on
to say good or bad.
sentence, just like move on to the next sentence.
Yeah, there's no need for the tirade. Right? I'm pretty sure everyone understood your position, like the very first sentence you ever made in this discussion.
I mean, you can just check his role as a Muslim. We understand where he comes from.
Yeah.
I don't know why he's trying to explain to you where he comes from that you don't know. I don't know what that's about.
Well, first of all, he didn't make any argument, so I don't know why he invoked an argument. Yeah.
What even is wait, hold on, before we go on. What even is the discussion about?
Whether or not God exists. I was talking with several people.
It wasn't about if God exists. I asked us like a question.
To Marco?
Do you answer that? No, I was a question to you.
Oh, well, initially I was with Marco. W Guy, he's a major in linguistics, and he was arguing for atheism, so I came late, and then he was like, oh, monkeyboy's here, he wanted me to take over, so I just started like arguing a bit with him before he left, and then then just like a bunch of people joined VC, and people were asking me questions, and this other idiot here was challenging me, but then giving like.
Nora, listen, my friend, don't talk about me. Don't call me an idiot.
Can someone mute? Okay, listen.
Sammy, you talk too much.
If this doesn't benefit your
Well, the idea is that you don't have epistemic access to how I'm defining the term, so me calling you an idiot can mean like you're the best person in the world, right?
I mean calling you a retard could also mean that, right?
Yeah, you're
yo, monkey boy.
Yeah.
I'm sorry that this comes from hatred. Listen.
I'm not hating anyone. I don't hate anyone.
Brother, I don't. Listen. What I wanted to ask is you tell me, you give me a definition that when you speak to when you discuss to Muslims or believers about their beliefs, you say that you only gain satisfaction through your own knowledge, correct? Or you only do it for your own knowledge and your own increase of knowledge?
Well, the idea is that those who are enlightened are going to be happy that they came to truth. I mean, isn't the entirety of the religion? Well, the entirety of theodicy is for one to come to truth. That's literally what it is. The purpose of life, the way one was created or came into.
Purpose.
No, well, the idea is that one wants the satisfactory of attaining truth, and if that's what they so desire, instead of filling their fantasies with some magical sky daddy, I just overtly like give true revelation.
Yeah, but
chill
with that because that's disrespectful.
Chill, bro. Don't. Yeah, monkey boy. You can call someone retarded, but don't say magical sky daddy.
Okay.
It doesn't matter. Don't get offended by it. Listen. So then I'm going to question is why are you sitting here? So do you get satisfaction of speaking to people, or does this benefit you knowledgeably?
Well, no, I don't gain much more knowledge. Most people who, are in the belief of theology, either they're way too committed to the dogmas that they are raised in within religion, or it's the case that they're just completely deluded and incapable of applying rational criticism to their own view, for which it would be evidently the case under multiple frameworks, especially like ontological economy. That's the case that no God exists.
That's just like a smart way.
Yeah, it's just, all it means is that it's going to be more parsimonious as an explanatory virtue for God. I mean, for the not God hypothesis, for which there's no reason to consider the God hypothesis.
Listen, monkey, you're wrong, and that's what it is. I mean, just accept it.
Okay.
So are you?
What a good argument.
Yeah, what a great argument. So are you going to demonstrate the proposal of the idea that I'm wrong, or are you just going to, assert that?
No. Like, I'm just going to say that you're wrong. Like, I'm not going to propose anything.
Okay. Yeah, so I'm just going to dismiss that. I have no care.
Yeah, but Derek, you don't even know if he's wrong because you don't even know what he believes in. So.
Well, he's an atheist.
Oh, of course, there had to be one person within. How many people are here? Yeah, there had to be the one person who. One dude is, getting attacked by everyone and giving good criticism, and then that one person just says, "Nuh-uh." Right?
Yeah, I know.
Nuh-uh.
Derek, what do you think? What do you think Darth or Monkey Boy is wrong about?
Yeah.
I don't know about Darth. I don't know.
You don't know?
That he's wrong. Like, you said what he believes in, but you don't know what he believes.
He's wrong about being.
Hold on. Stop being a knight. Calm down. I was talking about Monkey Boy, and he's an atheist, but I don't know about Darth. I haven't seen his roles. All I know is that Monkey's wrong.
That's the same
Darth
person.
is Monkey Boy, bro.
Yeah.
What is Monkey Boy wrong about?
About being an atheist.
About that.
You think that Monkey Boy is wrong about God not existing?
Yeah.
What do you think Monkey Boy means by God?
A deity that controls the universe.
What?
Whoever controls the universe is who Monkey Boy thinks God is?
I don't even think you know what he means by God.
Who controls the universe?
Derek, I wouldn't.
Whoever controls the universe, Derek?
Gravity has a control on the universe as well. So I don't know what you mean by that.
I said it on no.
Just I don't understand what you say. Like, are you saying that there's an axiomat?
Derek. I guess a better way to clear this up is if you ask him what he means by God.
Yeah,
maybe then you can claim instead of arguing from intuition.
All right, so
well, even the idea of whether or not
a divine being outside of space-time and matter controls the universe and not create the universe out of nothing.
Of course not.
Okay, then all right, then I'm not wrong by saying that he didn't believe in God.
Wait, why are you correct?
Well, because that's what I meant by God, and he confirmed that my
you said that. God, you said that he was stupid. I'm asking why are you correct that he was stupid?
Speak for him, buddy. Don't work for him.
I'm not speaking for him. I'm speaking for me.
Yeah, you are.
I want to hear your views, Derek. Relax. Be okay.
No,
just tell me the answer to my question.
Derek,
I'm gonna get riled up because you're speaking for him, and I don't like that.
I'm not speaking for him. I'm speaking for me.
He himself is trying to get a better understanding of your position when you make such a declaration, right? You're not going to just decry I'm wrong or that I'm stupid for believing in God, and then whenever someone else puts inquiry into question of your view, that it's therefore that they're just my left-hand man or something. Like that's just stupid.
Well, I asked you by God. I mean a being.
Well, yeah. So
matter that created the universe.
For my understanding,
that's what I mean by God. So.
What's my understanding? God is just an arbitrary conception of necessity in terms of like first order calculus. You're not going to derive individual constant from a variable, right? It could be the case that even this model of God or definition that I'm using, I can still reject other models of God that under the consideration of what one declares or decries God to be, right? This is the view I generally function under when I say God, but under other circumstances, there can be other people who don't have the same definition. I would still reject their view. So it's not really a matter of me, right? Because atheism is the lack of. Yeah, so atheism is the. Hold on. Yeah, so I would not be persuaded of the view.
Carl, I don't know what you guys are arguing over this.
The definition that I gave about like what God is, and that you already said no, like I don't believe in that God, is the description of God that every single person like in the server holds to, that is Muslim or Christian.
No, everyone.
No, I do not believe in the same God as you. Thank you.
Yeah, I wouldn't
say that you believe in the same God as me. I said
I wouldn't speak for others.
Space, time, and matter that controls and that create the universe out of nothing. And
I don't even think you believe in Derek.
If you give a description of that God, and then you're saying that they believe in the same description, you do realize what you are saying.
We don't believe in the same description.
Yeah.
When I say that you believe in the same description, I'm saying that you profess to believe that there is a being outside of space, time, and matter that controls and that create the universe out of nothing. That's what we all mean by God. So like, there's no reason to like to waffle. I don't say this one. No,
well, that's not what everyone.
Derek, even you don't believe that.
Listen, Derek.
Do you think that God is? Derek, do you think that God is causal?
Huh?
Do you think God is causal?
What do you mean by causal?
Oh
You don't know
my
what
God.
causation is?
I know it is, but like we're saying like God is
Yeah.
causal. What does that mean?
Is God? Do you know what it means for electrons to be causal?
No. Let's say
You know
I
what?
don't.
Okay, do you know
Just
what?
teach me.
Let's say you don't, or you don't.
No, teach me. Teach me.
Okay, you don't
It
know.
means
Okay.
permanent. Jeez.
You look so causal, as in like one thing has impact on another, right? Like there are effects from this. Causal.
Someone skipped 5th grade science.
Impact from one another.
All right, monkey boy, stop me to know.
Derek, do you think? Yeah, Derek, do you think that God is causal? Does God have effects?
He has created acts.
He's created acts.
What do you mean by
So that he
acts?
has
So does
created
that answer?
acts.
Does that answer my question, Derek?
He said does God have effects? Sure, he has created effects.
Is God causal? Is that a yes?
Yeah, God has created effects.
Yes, God is causal.
No,
God has created
Derek.
effects.
My question was, is God causal?
Yeah.
Yes or no? I clarified what
Yeah,
causal
and
means.
so
So we can
yeah,
move
and
on,
so
and you can answer the
clarified
question.
what causal meant.
Mhm.
All right, and so you said that causal means anything with effects.
Mhm.
Oh my God.
Okay, and so you
Is God
asked me,
causal?
God
Yes or no?
causal? I'm saying
Look,
that
here's
God has created
let's make it
effects, not
multiple
that God
choice.
is
A
creating.
is yes, and B is no.
Yeah, so-
C is I don't know. Are
So
you
Derek-
A, B, or C?
The reason he's
Okay, God
asking
is not-
this, even though you keep saying
God
that
is
he
not-
produces effects,
okay,
is because
second try is like what like
Yo,
okay,
monkey
what is
boy,
this?
hold on, shush.
well, the idea is that when one doesn't give a direct answer of yes or no, but gives a response that is, of some manner,
Kind of ambiguous.
So,
it's
hey,
gonna be
am I gonna say,
rudimentary.
like, you guys
Or
at the same time,
Yo,
or
monkey
are
boy,
y'all gonna, like,
monkey
speak
boy.
for yourselves? Like, what is this?
I'm just trying to clear something up. Okay.
No,
You can-
well, you're not clearing something up. You're
I think
trying
Monkey
to
Boy is trying to help you, Derek. Monkey Boy is
Yeah.
like giving you some rope.
No, but you're like twerking for
Don't
him,
hang
so, like, I
yourself with
don't-
it.
No, you're
Yeah.
twerking for him.
Listen,
Twerking for him.
listen.
That's the gayest accusation I think I've ever heard.
Wait,
Yeah,
Derek,
and
what
I
do you
agree.
wait,
Derek,
yo,
Oh my
Derek,
God.
talk for you for a second. Yo, Derek, 1 second. Let me twerk for you.
What?
Uh,
All right,
Sam's
anyways.
got that clap noise going on.
Yo, wait, Derek.
Then
Oh
he got
my
that ass cheek clapping.
Bro, I'm
Now,
literally-
Derek,
Anyways, wait,
Before we
Derek,
move on, I wanna get-
wait, let me ask.
Derek,
Let me ask him a question. Let me ask him a
No,
question.
like, can one person talk and like not?
Yeah,
the
Derek.
boyfriend talk to them?
It's this
Yeah,
simple.
I just-
Derek.
Derek,
Oh
do
my
you
Lord.
have an argument or not? Like,
Yo,
Listen, just say my name 50 times with other people just calling my name.
Derek,
Like, that's how
Derek,
okay.
Derek,
Derek.
Yeah, so we
Okay.
have the 3 husbands, who got recently married that are twerking for each other right now.
what is this guy talking about? I'm trying to ask you something, bro.
No,
Actually,
all of you guys are asking me
we're not
something at the
married,
same
we're
time.
engaged.
Let one of you talk.
Yeah, I was
Listen.
talking, and then they just started talking. Like I was
I'm
talking, and
to
then
Monkey Boy. You're not in this conversation. Who are you?
you're talking
you're
to
talking to me,
Cinda,
yeah.
moron.
Yeah, but hold on, I kind of before we
Wasn't
move on,
talking
like
to you. And
Derek,
let's
you're
move
not
through.
public VC,
Let's
you don't
let me and Derek
choose
move through this first.
melon.
Move through this first topic of conversation.
I think that me and
I don't see any
I think
need
that
to
me and the
entertain
monkey should talk, not
Derek's
you.
little performance, right? If Derek doesn't have an argument, then Derek can sit down in the corner.
I think
Derek
that me and
could
Monkey
be
should
talking.
talk and not let you talk. Okay?
You were talking to me, Derek. You shouldn't track.
Listen, Derek.
No, I was talking
Derek,
to Monkey
Derek,
at first.
Derek, if you want to talk with me, we can
It's
talk.
so
What do you want to talk about, Derek? Sure. What do you want to talk about, Derek?
Okay, so we're going back to the definition of God. And so I said
Yeah,
the
I
definition
grant
of
you your
God.
definition. That's fine. Do you have an argument?
Okay, so why would you waffle about, I don't believe in this model of God when we all know what type of God that we're talking
What?
about?
Give the argument.
Waffle.
What is he talking about?
Yeah.
He's waffling.
How's that a waffle? All I was saying was I'm going to subscribe to this definition personally, but it's the case that other competing models of God, I'm still going to have rejection for.
Of the definition, and now you're waffling about it.
That's not a waffle.
Waffling, just provide the argument, Derek.
Yeah. So waffling means
Waffling,
that.
bro, because
Okay. What do you take waffling to be?
Yeah.
What do you take waffling to be?
Huh?
What do you take waffling to be? Something not clear? Is my audio coming?
I'm saying.
Yeah. What do you take to be waffling? Because I take it to be lengthy, unrelated.
I'm saying. Okay, just talk. Okay, you're gonna go talk. Go.
Yeah, so I take waffling to be lengthy, unrelated monologues. If you're gonna say my monologue was very lengthy, which I wouldn't even say that, but if you're gonna say it's unrelated, I don't see how that is.
Are you done talking, or do you want to hear yourself talk more?
I mean, I like my voice, but you could give a response.
Because every single time I talk, your husband jumps in. So like, I don't know.
We all want to hear your argument, Derek. We're waiting for the argument.
Really great. So what I mean by waffle, I mean that you're being.
Who's that other guy talking? Was that Derek's husband? Please don't interject.
You taking my joke is not it.
Oh, it's not it.
It is not it.
I'm
That is
sorry.
not very slay, girl boss.
You see, what are you doing?
Listen.
Laser sticking up for his boyfriend.
Oh, really?
Notice
Okay.
how Derek has still not made an argument.
Yeah, Cindy.
Listen. Okay. Ignore synth. You can mute him if you want. Right? You want to be be a little crybaby and just just produce the argument. Like, you're just wasting time.
What?
Yeah, if you want to.
I'm not wasting time because every single
Listen,
time
you want to be over dramatic.
What I mean by waffle, I mean the fact that you beat around the bush about the
Beat around the
definition
bush.
of a God.
When did I beat around the bush?
because you beat around the bush about the definition of God. And
Oh,
so I
really?
the definition of God.
Really?
All right. And he said that no, like you don't believe in that type of model
Well,
of God. So why are you waffling about like
Why am I
like,
waffling?
like we're talking about this model and this definition of a God. So there's no
Oh,
reason to bring up all
okay.
the other models.
Okay, so I'm beating around the bush, right?
Oh my gosh, my fucking foot cramped. Never mind. Sorry.
Yeah. Maybe, yeah, I don't really care. So, it's going to be the case that I'm beating around the bush, right? Which is to mean I wasn't overt in what I was saying. Even though I did overtly say I do take that model of God. But it's going to be the case, other models of God, which I don't take under this definition.
No.
Oh, that's waffling. But
You're
that's not beating around the bush, right? Because I'm not using ambiguous language.
No, you're yapping. Like you're yapping.
I'm yapping. So it's not beating around the bush. So it's not the case I'm waffling. Are you going to just...
No, it's both. Both. You're yapping and you're waffling.
So what was the beating around the bush? Where was the hiding?
Do I have to say it?
Yes, you
like
do.
the third time?
Oh, no, you never said it once. Not to my recollection.
Oh, so like I didn't just like
No, you didn't.
question about what beat around the bush was or what? Like do you have
No. You said waffling was beating around the bush. You never said what beating around the bush was, right? I mean, I think I know what beating around the bush is, but I don't see how what I actuated is somehow furnishing that criterion of beating around the bush because I don't see any
Are you real?
compatibility. Yeah, I am real. I'll take it that I'm real. Why?
I don't think you're real.
If anything, you seem more like AI because you're not giving very like nuanced responses. You're like very mechanical. Are you real? That's just gonna be like irrelevant from my response. Do you have an argument or not? Right?
Okay.
Okay. So is that a yes? Is okay a yes? You have an argument.
What I meant by okay.
Okay, is a yes?
Bruh. I just talk. Go.
I just asked you a question.
I can't get a word in, so you're just gonna I talk. Go.
Well, you didn't say yes or no. So when you
on the server now.
Yeah. So oh, I do. Where's my role? Anyways, if someone says, if I ask a question, I mean, I hope I'll get a response. But when you say neither yes or no and continue to talk, I'm not gonna have any consideration for what you have to say. Because it doesn't seem to answer my binary question. So you can just give me a yes or no. Did you forget what the question was? I could rephrase it. Yeah, sure. You want the question?
Are you done?
I mean, I stopped talking.
Do I have permission to speak, sir?
No.
No, I don't? Okay. All right, go.
Bruh.
Okay.
Bruh.
Yeah.
Bruh.
Next person.
Yeah, so it's obviously that you guys are a bad will. So I mean, there's
A
no
bad
point in
will.
discussing.
Bad will. What does it mean to have? Yeah. What you mean?
guys-
Will in the sense of volition?
Disingenuous the second that you guys came in here.
It means
Disingenuous.
You made yourself dark because you're using the dark side of debate. You got bad will. You got bad chakras. You're misaligned. Your third eye is closed. That's what it means. It's obvious. You know, monkey boy.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. I'm an Naruto fan. I'm aware of all this. Listen. So, if it's the case you don't have an argument, then it's just gonna follow. I'm not gonna have consideration for what you say. I mean, we can make this as a material conditional. If it's the case you don't produce an argument, it's the case. Well, then it'll follow that monkey boy or Darth isn't going to be cordial with you and care about what you say. You can babble all day and give your little narrative paradigms for why you believe a God exists, but that's not an argument. So, anyone here want to, I don't know, ask questions or have a discussion and produce an argument, or engage in something that isn't just irrelevant questions that make no sense, and then just make assertions not justified. Like first said, I was beating around the bush. Anyone else want to talk? I'm not very free for long, so.
I'm kind of interested to see if any of the apologists in here have good arguments against atheism. Are there any? Anybody, like, there's a lot of people in here who aren't atheists. Does anybody have a good argument for why they're not an atheist?
Who's this? The enthusiast guy. What is your name, Sammy? Do you have any more questions?
So it's a server named Islam.
I have a question.
Oh, you have a question? Sure.
Yeah. Sure, do you read your Bible?
Should I read my Bible? Is what you asked?
Sure, do you read your Bible?
Sorry, sir?
Yeah.
He said you.
No, is that a question?
It's just no, but are you related? Like not like family wise, but are you related to the Darth guy, the other guy? Are you like the wannabe version of him, or
Darth Arianis?
The Darth stuff?
Yeah, I'm Darth's cousin. Yeah.
Did you have you looked at Ibn Sina's contingency argument?
With his friend Marco, but they didn't get to that because someone else.
That's a question for me. Oh yeah, my friend Marco.
Sina's contingency argument. Perfect.
Wait, Darth, I put the syllogism in VC text. Can you just critique it real quick? Like the I can tag you real quick actually.
In VC. Okay.
Yeah, I'll
VC
tag you real quick. 1 sec. Okay. Yep.
Yeah, this isn't even.
Okay.
Wait, so
Sorry,
what was
this was
that? You're a fan of Darth Dawkins, or what was that?
Ariana.
No, Darth Arianis.
Oh, what about Darth Dawkins? Do you know about him?
Yeah, he lost to me. He's pretty pathetic and can't leave a script.
Damn.
Yeah, he's.
Cool. Darth, have you read Ibn Sina's contingency argument, or have you at least heard about it?
No, I don't read any works directly on theology. I read philosophy books. Not a lot. I don't have.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
no,
like, have you read Ibn Sina?
no, I'm not aware of the argument by name. No, I possibly came across.
It's a good argument. It's great. It's great. Personally, one of my
Wait,
favorites.
Synth and Darth, can you guys read the argument critique real quick?
Yeah, so one is I need to know the modal scope that you're working on. Like that's not clear at all. It's one of the issues with a lot of these
Like the
arguments.
definition of contingent necessary and stuff?
Yeah, just the modal scope.
Yeah, I don't know what that means honestly, but I'm not following.
Modal scope.
So like logical, physical, metaphysical. If metaphysical, what's the account for metaphysical?
Crusader, you want to like take it from here? Or?
If something is necessary, it's a necessary.
His argument.
Crusader's argument.
Wait, why did Elijah attack?
What do you take existence to mean? I don't. This argument.
Wait, he's gonna talk in a second. Just 1 second.
Who's gonna talk?
Crusader.
When Ibn Sina says existence, I'm pretty sure he means a thing. In reality.
A thing.
I don't know
So
if that would clarify the modal scope.
A thing in reality.
Yeah, but a thing could be in reality and it doesn't entail that it's going to be necessary or contingent. I'm
Yeah.
asking what is the modal scope on which it's contingent or necessary.
And when you say a thing, that's I don't know what you mean by a thing.
Are you familiar with like something being logically possible or it being physically possible? Things like these? Specifiers like these? Those are modal scopes.
Oh, so if it coheres with the laws of logic and stuff?
That would mean that it's logically possible.
Okay, yeah, so that
Reducible
can we
from
go
laws
off
of
that?
logic, that'd be, yeah, if it's logically contingent or necessary.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, then obviously I'm gonna deny premise too.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Wait, so can you elaborate more a little bit?
Yeah, because there's nothing that exists is either going to be contingent. Make any sense?
Wait, what?
You can out further. Me.
I only take it the propositions can be logically possible or logically necessary, not just things.
Okay, I see. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You did cut out for a second.
Okay,
Okay,
I'm saying premise 2 is false under this under this modal scope.
Yeah, it's like asking to justify it's like that same thing when people ask yourself to justify logic. Right? That's just not going to make sense. You know, ignoring other stuff like justification is a logical notion, but yeah.
In this case, it's even worse. It's like asking if pencil is true or false.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
Yeah.
What the fuck are you talking about? Everything that exists is logically necessary or logically contingent? Like, I don't know what the fuck that's supposed to mean. I don't know.
Whatever is contingent either has external cause or intrinsically caused. Is it? Yeah. What does it mean to be intrinsically caused?
I don't even know what it would mean to deduce pencil or for pencil to not be in contradiction with anything else. What does that mean? It's just a fucking noun. How can everything be logically contingent and necessary? That makes no sense.
Yeah, I mean,
I would assume you need a more restrictive modal scope, like physical or something like that.
I mean, I wouldn't even grant causality.
I'd be fine with granting it just for fucking sake of the argument, but it's just there's still what do any of these premises mean, and the one that's been clarified is just obviously false.
Yeah, so P7 is like kind of asinine. Like it says, therefore, the totality of causal dependent contingency is itself contingent, not necessary. So the idea that we take the aggregate or the set of all existent elements in the universe and pile them up and say what explains this, that's just going to be like dumb, right? That's like saying the same thing that explains turtles explains red. Like you can't. What explains a conjunction is not going to make sense.
Yeah. Crusader says, I am not a theist. Damn, this is motherfucker's strongest pro-theism debater is like, I'm not even a theist, dog. That's sad. Do we have a single theist who's willing to like argue in favor of it? There's so many theists. Just
You can tag jihadist if you want to.
Damn.
What did you say? There's Abu's microphone's got some backsplash lemon lime. I wasn't able to understand you.
Yeah, if you want to, you can like tag jihadist.
Tag jihadist.
Tag jihadist. Dude. Give in here.
What is it? Is his name just jihadist?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll tag him too. Oh, I just realized some people were pinging me. You're rude.
I don't think he's on.
What is a Muslim? Wait, was it a Muslim server? I don't know what that question was for. You didn't win at all. You're incredibly rude. Oh, really? Win what? Right? I mean, none of the theists even conveyed an argument. If my position is to critique their argument and they fail to convey an argument, I'm pretty sure that's win in my books, whether or not I'm rude, right? Like, it's not like I was making ad homs, right? And instead of giving adequate responses, I was just filibustering with like insults or something.
While we wait for this jihadist guy to join, if he looks like he's offline, he's really not going to join at all. Is there, out of the theists who are in the VC, is there a single one who thinks they've got a good argument? Any of you?
They present. Wow, look at this guy, A991. No, they successfully presented their arguments. You were using filthy words. Yeah, I mean, if they produced an argument that maybe I'm not aware of.
Yo, Doc. I got a question for you.
Sure.
How do you know you exist?
I don't. How do you?
I'm asking you a question. How do you know you exist?
Yeah, I don't. How do you?
You just answered it.
How do I know you exist? I don't know.
Come again?
The way that it says you're an atheist, so you negate the existence of God,
right? Yeah, I'm not persuaded.
Okay, so do you have positive evidence for the negative claim that God does not exist?
The negative claim? I didn't produce a negative claim.
No, that's no. Being atheist by definition, you know what atheist means? You're not agnostic. Agnostic would mean that you believe it's possible God exists, but atheist means you negate.
You just ask what he means.
Yeah.
The existence of God, right?
Well, why are you presupposing?
I'm not assuming the definition. You can Google at the dictionary, but if you're ignorant,
well, yeah. The idea is that definitions aren't of any truth value, right?
Yeah, we speak language.
No, but when we speak in language, we should appeal to like the well-known definition that's accepted by pretty much everyone.
No. Of course, we should definition. There's multiple definitions that are well-known of atheists. You should just ask which one Darth is using.
Are you
the one that's convenient for your argument?
I assumed the most majority one, but if you have a minority view, then you can help.
No, you didn't.
Well,
no, you didn't.
We already.
Hold on.
Okay.
What's the polling data you're appealing to show that's the most common one?
To my knowledge. What do you mean?
To your knowledge. You're ESL. Your knowledge is nothing to me. Right?
Yeah, obviously, I'm judging with my knowledge.
Whoa, you self, chill out, bud. Hold your horses. Look, do you have any polling?
No, you're cringe,
Okay. By the way, suspected. I was thinking, it's like,
who's the smoker?
Like how you know you exist and stuff like that. It's like, okay, whatever this is that you're experiencing, the physical stuff and the thoughts, that is existence. Whether that's actually a dream or doesn't even matter, because this is the existence, like period. It doesn't matter if it's actually a dream, quote unquote. You know what I mean?
Wait, Darth.
That is the existence.
Yeah. So
why are they like?
He told me he's like I don't care about your knowledge or an ESL. Like he's like, bro, you know ESL is because
hold your horse.
Yeah,
so trying to like get around like definitions. Like I literally already told him, do you believe in an intelligent being that created the universe out of nothing? And like, bro, like he literally said no. So like why are you waffling about the freaking?
How am I waffling?
I believe he exists, bro. This guy is a shit block.
Wait,
Honestly, this debate has inspired me to do a course in like philosophy or something.
Nice.
100% suggested.
The whole debate. What happened?
Well, so I can like dunk on
Muhammad Ajab has the best version of Ibn Sina's argument, by the way.
Okay, so the person who misrepresented my position of atheism. Yeah, so atheism for me is just going to be the mere lack of conviction in the proposition a deity exists. I mean,
do you believe God could exist?
Could exist? Are you talking under an Olympic modal scope?